The road to WrestleMania has started. We have Roman Reigns and Liv Morgan as our Royal Rumble winners. Honestly, very safe. Very safe compared to last year's where Jey Uso was the Royal Rumble winner, which was a huge mistake. He just went safe. All right, and I'm not going to blame him because of his horrible decision last year. He wants to make sure he has everything right. And usually I'm not a fan of being too safe. I like when you give other people chances, you build up new stars. And last year was a perfect time for LA Knight to become a huge star and to become a main eventer. But they chose Jey Uso instead. And that's led to the downfall of last year and how horrible it was. And hopefully we get a better build to WrestleMania. It looks like we're off to a I don't even want to say a better start because we're basically doing the same thing. We have another masked man, guys. Another masked man. They can't do anything. Like, the only way they can build up a story is having a guy in a mask attack and do the same attacks. He's doing the curb stomp, whatever they call it. Seth Rollins move. It's either Seth Rollins, maybe a Dean Ambrose. I really don't know. I mean, I just, my problem is we literally just did this probably like last month with Austin Theory. Austin Theory was this masked man for like a month, right? Everyone was excited for it because we thought it was going to be someone else than Austin Theory. And then it's revealed to be Austin Theory and no one cares. And I feel like everyone's forgot about that. And then a month later, we decided to do the same exact thing. This just shows the lack of creativity from the writers. Because how can you come up with the same exact story? It's not even a story. It's like a scenario where they're like, all right, let's just grab a random guy, put him in a mask, and then he's going to attack this one group. I really just don't understand it. If they can build this up to be a story with Austin Theory, maybe this is Austin Theory's guy, something like that. And now we have Braun Breaker injured. And I don't know if this is a real injury or they're just playing this up to be a story. But if he's hurt, this really sucks because the whole masked man storyline is probably involved with Braun Breaker. I mean, he's heavily involved in it. He got jumped. He's part of the Visionaries. So whatever story that they're trying to tell with this masked man is instantly altered if Braun Breaker is no longer on the shows. So, we'll see what happens from that. Like I said, they did this last year with Seth Rollins where they kind of faked his injury and he came back at WrestleMania. So I don't think they're going to do something like that with Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker's not, it's not like he's been a main character for Raw for the past couple of months, but it's not to the point where, oh, we don't need to see him for 5 months. Like, we still need to see a Braun Breaker, right? If he's healthy, he needs to be on the show. He's young, and he still needs to build up his character. Because I feel like once he was at the top, right, where we thought, okay, maybe he should be the CM Punk. He doesn't win. And he kind of loses a lot of steam. And the main reason on why he's lost a lot of steam is because of the lack of storytelling, right? It's hard to, have a character develop when there's no story. Right, you need a story and a reason on why a character will develop as a character. Now, I'm not going to break down all of Monday Night Raw last night, but I will talk about the things that I've missed over the past week. Number one, Obafemi. Obafemi has made his debut on both Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. I don't really know what show. I think he's going to be on Raw. I think Raw needs a superstar in Obafemi, but he's been looking very dominant. He had a match with Kit Wilson, basically squashes him. Kit Wilson has his little promo, the toxic, I'm a feminist, that type of thing. I love Kit Wilson's it's a good gimmick. I like that gimmick. We need some more comedy acts besides just R-Truth. And R-Truth at this point is not funny. Like, I like R-Truth, but he's just doing the same dumb, comedy that's like, it gets to a point where it's like, all right, it's not really funny. But Kit Wilson has his own gimmick. He's a feminist, a male feminist gimmick. I love it. It's amazing, right? Basically squashes Kit Wilson, and then he basically squashes a tag team in the Ward Raiders on Monday Night Raw. So they're making Oba look strong, and I think that's all he really needs at this point. I think, if you keep having him do matches, like when you look at Javon Evans, he's been having a bunch of matches with the, not the LW, what are they called? The El Grandos Americanos, whatever, okay? In my opinion, Javon Evans doesn't feel important because of the story that he's in. There's no real story. It's just he's doing matches, and then he's fighting the other guy on the group, and then he's fighting the next guy, and then he's fighting the main guy, and then it's a tag team. Like, there's no story. And I know it kind of speaks for itself, but there's no promo, there's no attack between one or the other. You know what I mean? So I hope with Obafemi, after he's done with the squash matches, I would say at least have one more squash match and then he's good. And then you start to build his character. You start to build a storyline between Oba. Maybe it could be a medium top guy like an LA Knight. And let's talk about the women's division real quick. AJ Lee decides to show up. I honestly forgot that AJ Lee was back in the WWE. But she had a promo against Becky Lynch, and I'm not going to lie, it wasn't great when it comes to mic work. I mean, I remember as maybe because I was young, I thought AJ Lee was really good on the mic. I mean, she probably still is. Maybe she's nervous. She's not constantly doing promos as much as she used to. But the promo just felt kind of cheesy. It didn't feel real. Kind of felt like scripted. Now, Becky Lynch, I like Becky Lynch. I didn't like Becky Lynch before she was this heel. I just think her facial reaction is just hilarious, right? And some people may think it's cringy or corny. I think it's funny. She's like a villain that constantly is mad, constantly doesn't get her way. And yes, she is the champion, but it still feels like she's not getting her way with, most of the stuff. She's always walking away mad, and I don't know. I think it's funny. I think it's hilarious. So I think Becky Lynch, when we talk about the women's division, she's the best women's wrestler right now. When you look at the character work, the matches, the rivalries that she's had, she's helped, girls like Lara Valkyria. And Lara is not like Lara's a really good on the mic or a great character. So she kind of elevated Lara. She elevated so many different women in this division. So yeah, Becky Lynch keeps doing her thing. AJ Lee, hopefully she can come on more shows so she can be more comfortable when it comes to promos and feuds and storylines and stuff. But it looks like she's probably just going to show up once every 2 months. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't want to get my hopes up with AJ Lee. Now let's talk about the men's champions, right? We have CM Punk, who it looks like he's going to have a match with Finn Balor at Elimination Chamber, but he also has his WrestleMania match against Roman Reigns. Now, is Finn Balor going to beat CM Punk at Elimination Chamber? Probably not. Probably not. But it is entertaining. I do enjoy this rivalry, and there is a slimmer of hope that Finn Balor could win, right? You never know, right? He could become Demon Balor or whatever, right? We don't know, but it would be cool. It would be a moment. But I'm liking what CM Punk's doing right now, right? He has two rivalries, two stories that, one's going to be told a little bit sooner than a Roman Reigns one, but whenever Roman Reigns and CM Punk are cutting a promo, it feels real. It feels like it means something. And that's all we want, right? But remember last year, Jey Uso, Gunther, this is this is a huge upgrade. Okay, so I'm not going to complain. Now, when you look at Drew McIntyre, it seems like every time I see Drew McIntyre, he's getting jumped by Jacob Fatu or Cody Rhodes. Now, why is he getting jumped still by Jacob Fatu? I have no idea. Maybe because he's the one that jumped Jacob Fatu a couple months ago, and now Jacob Fatu is just going to jump him every time he sees him. I don't know. Is that the story that they're trying to tell? I guess. Cody Rhodes jumping Drew McIntyre for whatever reason because he lost to Drew McIntyre. Is that really why? Right? Maybe we should talk about how Cody Rhodes went to Drew McIntyre's house, committed a felony, and didn't get arrested, didn't get suspended or anything like that. Can we bring that back up? Because that only happened a couple months ago. At least have a story, because it just looks like he's just jumping him for whatever reason. He looks buttered. That's really what it looks like. So I would like them to kind of, Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes have a history, right? Like as I said, Cody Rhodes showed up to his house. Talk about that more. It feels like we only talked about that for a week and then forgot about it. No, when stuff happens in the past and you're still in a rivalry with that one person, bring it up. You got to bring it up. I don't know, you look at all the top rivalries of the past. You had Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero. There was so much in there in that feud, right? They had so many different storylines and different things that happened in the past that they kind of brought back into the present or whatever time they were feuding, So they need to add more of that, because you can't just have them jump. That's our story. Boom. No. You gotta at least tell a story. Let it breathe. You can't just have a brawl every week. Let it breathe. Let Drew McIntyre say something off his chest, and then in 2 weeks, Cody Rhodes comes out, says something, and then sneaks him. But this has been a constant problem for the WWE. They're creative. Their lack of creativity, right? It seems like every month I have to say the same thing when it comes to the lack of creativity. It's not hard. You actually have to hire real writers. I don't think they're hiring real writers. I think they're hiring wrestlers to write the show. And that's the problem. The head of creative is an ex-wrestler whose ego was through the roof. This is a guy who wants to be on the cover for WWE 2K. And this guy is not active. This guy's writing horrible stories, but he wants to be rewarded by having his own cover. This is the type of guy who's running the creative. Right? And you look at SmackDown, they have Road Dogg. I think that's his name. An ex-wrestler who's writing SmackDown. Can we please hire writers? That's all I'm asking. I don't think that's too much to ask for. Okay, that really isn't. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll be back maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. We'll see how things go. I'll catch you guys. Peace out.